So now when it comes to, like I said, with Gia and I spending money, it makes it easier that there are no extras out there. So she's not worried about what I'm doing. I'm not worried about what she's doing because we always check in on each other and we always spend together. Now you mentioned before, to have your own money. We don't have our own money in our relationship. I mean, we just don't. Like I just told her, I was like, babe, I got $2 in my pocket, joking. Like, there is no amount that we have separately. And the reason is we just feel like it works better. If we're gonna invest in something, we know that our money is invested in something. If I wanna buy something, I know that the money's being bought from here, or she's buying something, the money's being, we just don't divide anything out. I mean, we've been together since 16 and 15, so I mean, she knows what my underwear smells like before or after I take a poop, and I know what hers smells like. We are that connected.
Man, you and these analogies. And it's funny because where is she? When you were standing there earlier, when you were addressing the crowd, and you said, have your own money, I leaned over and whispered to him, do you think that we should have our own money?
That was a setup question.
And he said, nah.
You have to.
He said, no way. And that's just not the way that we are in our relationship. I understand why it could be a plus, but for us, there is no you, there is no me. Everything is us. Everything is ours. And I like it like that. And you mentioned a spouse not knowing how much their spouse makes. That's bananas. That's bananas. That's a telltale sign that you're living two individual lives. And that's what you have to get straight before you ever try to get on the same track. You have to fix that in your relationship. Because when your relationship is right, then your money is right. You can't have right finances and right ideas about investing and coming together and nothing if your relationship isn't right. So you have to start there. And this is about love and money. So you definitely have to address the love part and the relationship part first.
And one thing that a lot of people don't know, you gotta make sure they close that door, that hawk is on my neck. One thing that people don't know is when I first started, Gia was actually the breadwinner. She was the one that was making all the money. And I didn't have nothing. So when it came to driving cars or going out, it was Gia paying for the stuff, Then what happened was the roles changed and my job took off. And then we had children, and then, pretty much the roles changed. Now she didn't have to bust her ass and work hard. Now I was working hard and she was making sure our kids were raised right.
I busted my ass and worked hard with them kids.
Yes, she did.
Okay.
Absolutely did.
Just clarification.
But it wasn't monetary. So for us, all the money is in one pot. To the point where my daughter, who was 16, came today and was like, Dad, I need to get my nails done. Can I go in the pot and go get some money? It's a family pot, and our family's so close. We're not worried about stealing. Like, we worried about investing and leaving a legacy and leaving something that my grandkids or my great grandkids can live on with the Casey name.
That's awesome, and I think one of the things that you guys touched upon is that when we look at those statistics, like about 43% of people not knowing what their spouse makes, that's pretty much the exact same as the national divorce rate. So,
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So I know even in past relationships that when you have trouble talking about money, money's greatest gift, and it's a mirror, and it reflects back to you where you're not valuing yourself. It is a sign that something deeper is wrong. And I think one of the beautiful things about what you guys said is that, remember when we're talking about money, we're usually not just talking about money, and you're talking about your belief systems, your values, finding what worked for you and what you both agreed on and what works within your family is the perfect equation for everybody. And this conversation, it always gets a half smile when you're talking to people about love and money. But one of the greatest things this conversation can do is, if you're really real about it, is it's such an opening to open up the intimacy. and your relationship. And if you talk about what's really driving those choices and behaviors, it's really a great path for couples to walk down.
Yeah, and let me use that. Yeah, there you go. And I also think with our relationship, the best thing about it is money is something that we don't argue or beef about. That's the smallest part of our relationship. You know, we're so honest when it comes to the dollar and the money. That's something small. The only problem that we have with money is we're the same. So it's like, if I want to go buy something, you usually need somebody to be like, babe, no. She's not like that. She's like, yeah, go get it. You work hard. And I'm the same way. You know, if she wants to buy something, I'm like, yeah, baby, I'll buy it for you. But that's because money really doesn't, money doesn't mean anything to us. You know, it doesn't make us. We use it because we enjoy it, but it's not something where some people are like, no, we don't care. We love our life, you know? So money means nothing. We like to play, but it was never been something where we said, oh, well, this is a bad month, hate you, F you. No, it's never been like that. We've always been based on what's mine is hers and what's hers is mine, you know? It's always been like that, and it's always worked. We haven't had any problems ever about money. Yeah, we argue about small things, but it's never been about money.
What do you guys do when it comes to longer term planning?
Well, there's certain things, different things that we do. I try to spread money as far as it can go. So, you know, whether it's the juice bar here, or it's homes in Detroit, or it's, you know, stocks and bonds that we own, or it's properties that we own in New Jersey. We try to spread our money everywhere, so hopefully something will connect. You know, I don't plan to make millions of dollars off Bitcoin, but shoot, if I could buy 2 Bitcoins and make $20,000, I'm fine with that. You know, if I could flip 2 houses in Detroit and one in New Jersey and make $500,000, it's just a creep until I can continue to do what I want to do. And yeah, we used to have money in long-term investments and you know, but for me, is we spread our money, spread our portfolio as far as possible. It's not just one thing. And I think, hold on, before, not to cut you off, but, and I think the reason for that is Gia's mother had, I think, close to her whole life savings in the stock market, right? And she was making so much money in the stock market. And then that bitch crashed. And when that bitch crashed, she lost everything. Everything. You know, except her house. And she was in that situation where it was like, you know, everybody was like, oh, the stock market's doing so well. And when it crashed, she really had nothing. You know, she lost her entire savings. And since then, I was like, that'll never happen to us. You know, we'll put money in so many different things that
Diversification.
Something will always come around and work. And that's the reason why I work so hard and I have 13 jobs, because I'm like, if I get fired off the radio, I got the podcast. If the podcast don't work, I got the parties. If the parties don't work, Gia's gonna be working at Lust. If that don't work, we got something going on.
I want to turn it over. Oh, please.
I just want to add something, because he just kind of focused on investments. For a lot of people, investments are beyond you. You know, investments is something that you take into consideration when you have money to invest. A lot of people are trying to get to that point to have money to invest. So I just want to address those people right now. What we do is a very conservative way of savings. He gets paid on the 1st and the 15th, okay? 1st and 15th, okay? Those checks come in. When those checks come in, we have to divvy that, because that is our solid income. Other things are in like an ebb and flow type fashion, you know? He might have X amount of parties, hostings, appearances this month. Next month might be kind of dry. So I treat all of that money like extra bonus money. What I'm looking at is the paycheck. Paycheck comes in, and we have to divvy that in a very responsible way. We like to spend, but we like to save, because you got to think about retirement. Like when you're in your 30s, you can have fun in your 20s. In your 30s, you really have to think about retirement. What happens if you get hit by a bus and you're disabled? You have to think about regular medical insurance. You have to think about life insurance. You have to think about your kids. You can't just rely on the kids' godparents. You have to know that there's money set up for your kids if something happens to you. We all think we're invincible. We're not invincible. You never know what's going to happen. So when those checks come in, one of them goes straight to savings. Period. I don't care what I want. I don't care what you want. I don't care what's going on. That goes in the bank, and that's being saved. The other half, a portion of that is set aside for bills. That last 25% is discretionary income. That's the money that we use to say, if I want a bag, he wants a pair of jeans, if my daughter wants something. When we're leading up to Christmas, we save that discretionary income, and that's what pays for Christmas.
But let me just say one thing. We don't believe in keeping money in the bank either. The bank doesn't make any money for
Well,
you.
a portion of it.
You know,
not the big, not
but
big
it
money.
goes somewhere. Like the bank, you could have $1 million in the bank. At the end of the year, you'll probably have what, 1,500,000, 1,100,000. So we keep no money in the bank. Everything goes for a reason, and I follow trends, and we do things sometimes that's ridiculous. Like we used to buy a lot of diamonds, right? Diamonds, 2 carat, 3 carat, 1 carat, and just hold them. The price of diamonds and the price of gold shoots up like crazy. So what we do, we hold them, put them in a safe in a bank. Christmas time, Mother's Day, sell them back to the distributors. Make money that way. And I would tell you about, well, the camera's on, but it's, whatever. It's whatever. But, that's a easy way to make money. Real estate is the same. You don't have to buy $1 million home. We used to flip homes that were like $200,000, put down 10% or sometimes 5% and flip it. And as long as you put it back into another home, another property, you ain't got to pay taxes. And you keep on flipping it until that day, until your kid's ready to go to college. You pull all that money out, now your kid's college is paid for. Pretty much tax-free, but it's pretty much paid for. So these are just things to get around the system. Now the new thing that I've been watching is my son. And if you do this in your home and you do this with your kids will start the routine. And if you don't know the story, my kid started selling Madden coins, right? Using my PayPal, he would play Madden and then sell these coins to grown-ass men. My son was 13 at the time. And every week in my PayPal, I would see $1,000. And I'm like, there's no fucking way he's making $1,000 a week. He's selling drugs. So I was like, you have to show me what you're doing. And he showed me, and it was like, oh, this is dope. So he's getting it. He's watching me, and he's getting money, and he's flipping it. Now what he's doing is he's going to the Supreme store and Bathing Ape store and all these stores, and now he's a reseller. He's buying these sneakers, and it's crazy because he's 13, but his mind is ridiculous. He buys a bot.
He just turned 14.
Just turned 14. He buys a bot. And what he does with this bot is he might set the bot up at, let's say, the Supreme store. And the bot might win 2 pieces. He'll buy the 2 pieces, and before those 2 pieces get to the house, they're already sold. And he's making a profit of $500 to $700 off each item. But that's because I'm talking about it in the house about investing. So he picked it up immediately. When I was a kid, my parents didn't talk about investing. They talked about working 40 years of your life, retire in the same place, and that's it. So that investment in talking to your kids will definitely instill that in them, and it actually is giving me ideas to, shit, I might as well open up a Supreme store. I might as well open up a Jordan store, because these kids are the fad and they're making money spending it.
And I'm not gonna lie, when he came to us with that Supreme idea, we both were like, man, get out of my face. You want me to buy a $300 t-shirt? He was like, no, you don't understand. He would go to eBay, pull up different websites to show me what they were reselling for. And then he would show me his bot, break it down. Mom, everything drops at 11 o'clock on Thursday. Can you sit in front of the computer and watch it for me?
He's calling us from the bathroom in school like,
Literally.
it's 10:59, I need you to press that button.
He just left language arts. He's holed up in the bathroom to make sure that the drop went according to plan.
We still didn't get it until Christmas time when we had to purchase him Supreme. And we went to the Supreme store, was sold out. They was like, there's another store around the corner. So now a t-shirt that cost $100 at the Supreme store, they had. I was like, yeah, I'll take it for my son.
We get to the register.
We get to the register, and before I'm about to pay, Gia goes, wait a minute, how much is that t-shirt?
Got a feeling.
The guy says $1,500.
Woo!
The t-shirt was $100 now. $1,500. Now me, I would have bought it because I didn't want to look embarrassed and there's people around.
I like, put that shit back.
Gia's like, put that shit back.
Put that shit back.
You don't want that. Put put that shirt back now.
Nah, B.
But we realized how much these kids are making reselling. It was like, this is a business that I'm gonna jump
We went
into.
home like, so what were you saying about that Supreme stuff? and since Christmas, he's been reselling Supreme because now we're on board. We're willing to help him. So if you know somebody that you love and they have a dream, you never know. If you believe in them and invest in that dream, it might turn into something.